I would say that commonly it is believed that Orthodox Islam is often at odds with modernity. Indeed, many people think that this medieval way of life just doesn't fit into today's contemporary society. So how do we tackle this all too common perception amongst non-Muslims and even Muslims? Well, here at the Muslim Research and Development Foundation, we decided to tackle this problem by looking at what would be the best way to educate Muslims with some key answers and directions which would show the wider community that actually Islam does provide a truly amazing and all-encompassing solution to many of the societal problems we face today. It became abundantly obvious that there was a dire need for us to rewrite the narrative of what Islam really has to offer today's world. As 1400 years of deeply rich Islamic heritage was seemingly being hijacked and distorted by haters and apologetics and widespread ignorance. So how do we show the masses in a clear and effective manner that Islam is a complete way of life with an extensive divine system of law? Well, we realized that we needed a platform on the World Wide Web for our thinkers and writers so that they could present a more lucid and confident Muslim voice upon well-grounded orthodox Islamic principles. And so Islam 21C, our flagship website, was born. Islam 21C has strived over the years to become a trusted alternative to typical Western thought, with a strong belief that Islam has a great deal to offer the West and that a clearer and more equal exchange of ideas will lead to a flourishing quality of life in the West for all. Alhamdulillah, Islam 21C has begun rewriting that narrative. Within a short time today, it enjoys millions of hits a month, and soon tomorrow we hope that millions will help this vision become a reality.
When we look around us, we find the Muslim community in the UK is developing in a whole spectrum of endeavours, from business, community, social, educational, to political and so much more. As inspiring as this has been, it has also been met with challenges. The Muslim Research and Development Foundation has witnessed disasters which seem to have repeated themselves over the decades. We have seen countless times when the decisions of Muslims have resulted in damaged reputations, burnouts in their faith, disputes and arguments, or a dilution of our pristine faith and its foundations. The Muslim Research and Development Foundation believed that these problems stemmed from a lack of structured and principled development, from a knowledge and spiritual perspective. So we decided to design a process in which we could cultivate and shape our Muslims of the future, so that we could make sure that not only do we continue excelling consistently, but protect ourselves from falling into the many traps of shaitan. And more importantly, remembering that at the end of the day, our focus is to get closer to Allah. And so, the Sabil program was born. We believe that Islam provides each and every one of us with the potential to be extraordinary human beings. As the MRDF flagship personal development project, Sabil addresses these issues through a number of educational programs by creating leaders who have a firm grounding of the framework of Islamic principles and the ability in applying these principles. We believe Sabil students will be an important contribution in the articulation of classical Islamic principles in the correct context. Sabil started off with just a handful of students. Now thousands are being empowered through our programs. With Sabil, we see a bright future for the Muslims and a more mature and stable future of leadership which will lead humanity with honor and justice.
He was the greatest and most profound man to ever set foot on earth. Muhammad al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam is to Muslims their beloved, their guide, their teacher, their example. And yet, since the beginning of his prophethood, the enemies of Islam have sought to malign and destroy his character through the spread of lies, confusion, and fear. Today, we see this manifested in the godless world with attacks on his honor, his character, and his achievements. This despite the fact that so many non-Muslim historians have testified to the greatness, exemplary character and uniqueness that has left an indelible mark on many millions of lives. Here, at the Muslim Research and Development Foundation, we realized that more is actually known about Muhammad's life than that of the founder of any other major faith. Yet, his story is frequently misunderstood and even deliberately distorted. It became our ambition and our drive to restore justice and integrity to the representation of the final prophet, and so a number of years ago we embarked on developing a product which would bring to life the character and personality of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in an unprecedented way. And so our flagship product was born, Prophetic Timeline. The Prophetic Timeline website is an interactive tool which uses classical and contemporary sources to showcase the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a unique and interactive manner. It draws on not only detailed account and historical facts, but draws out deeper meanings, lessons, and wisdoms of these events, and how they are so important to shaping our lives today. The widespread influence of the app world is massive and growing exponentially. Prophetic Timeline is probably one of the most beautiful, useful, and highly interactive apps you are going to find on the market today. And it is all about our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is our sincere hope that Prophetic Timeline's amazing website and app will form the stepping stone towards attaching a social stigma to any blasphemous, vulgar speech about our great Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so that humanity can really see that he was indeed a mercy to all of creation.
Busy at work, trying to pay our ever-increasing bills and living expenses, and trying to set up a future for our children, we don't have much time to pause and reflect and consider where our families and our lives and loved ones are leading to. The Muslim Research and Development Foundation is made of people just like you. We realized that a healthy society is underpinned by a healthy family. The need for us to have the best Islamic environment around our families is key to their success in this world and inshallah the hereafter. We just need to look around to see the consequences of a broken society entrenched in materialism and thousands of distractions. How can we save our families and our society from this? Well, the Muslim Research and Development Foundation has a dream where thousands of Muslims can come together for a few days of the year, live together, uninhibited, to rejuvenate their souls, build their brotherhood and draw incredible strength from one another, so they can return revitalized and reinvigorated, ready to take on their lives. Alhamdulillah, last year, for the first time, we lived that dream, and so the family retreat was born. I think we all realize that life in today's world is faster and more hectic than ever before. Whether it's societal, community, or personal responsibilities, the pressures can be unforgiving and are ever present. The family retreat program is there to equip and strengthen our community with characteristics that will really make them flourish and enable them to become beacons of light for all humanity. Filled with inspiring lectures, seminars and panel discussions and exposure to recognized scholars and academics, we hope the family retreat will redefine our lives and return us to focusing on our family as the central success for today's society.
In an era where Islam is widely misunderstood by Muslims and non-Muslims, the need for us to rise up with confidence and to be able to articulate Islam in a modern context is vitally important. MRDF is there to provide that environment where Muslims can study, analyze, present a classical Islamic scholarship and its contemporary application in today's society. We believe that our beloved and final Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not leave behind wealth and commodities. Rather, he left behind the richest of knowledge and guidance for those after him to uphold and spread. Indeed, a guided and enlightened society forms the bedrock of its success spiritually and materially. MRDF believes that Islam is not just important for society to flourish, but that society can only truly thrive if Islam is given its due right and place. We are devoted to the articulation of classical Islamic principles in a manner that provides a platform for Islam to be the cure for all of humanity's ills. One of our core beliefs is that developing Muslims, whether they be leaders, scholars, intellectuals, scholars or workers upon well-founded Islamic principles, will enable them to promote the pristine teachings of Islam to our Western audience. With the progress of Muslims in the West firmly in mind, MRDF is dedicated to researching, developing, and leading areas that are key to impacting public opinion about the important role of Islam in society. MRDF works for you. Today, and inshallah, long into the future, I am certain that working all together, we will help our flourishing Muslim community here in the UK and Europe truly rise and emerge to champion the values of Islam in the West. I hope you will join us and make this vision a reality.